Hi guys, welcome to Mr. Cloudbook channel. So we already announced that on December 25th. So we are going to start a master class on the DevOps. So this course, I don't know how many days it will take, but I am going to explain everything in clear and easy way. So this is the first lecture of this particular course, and today we will learn about what is DevOps and what are the DevOps tool sets and everything. I already prepared a PPT for this one. 1 minute. So what is DevOps and DevOps tools? So this is the first day. So do you know the following? So we are going to learn the evolution of the software development and how Facebook started using the DevOps and what is DevOps, and finally we are going to looking about what are the DevOps tools that we are going to use in the past and in the future. So this is the first topic we are going to learn. So software development lifecycle models. So the evolution of the software development over the years. In the previous time, or you can say in the earlier time when software development started, there was a different kinds of models. There was a different kinds of software development lifecycle, and we have the Big Bang and the waterfall model and so other models. Uh, the most popular software development lifecycle was the traditional waterfall model. In the waterfall model, first we require the requirements. So we are going to gather the requirements for the application we are going to build, and then after gathering the requirements, we are going to the planning phase, and then we do the coding, and then we do the testing, and then finally we are going to do the maintenance, right? So this is the complete product life cycle of the traditional waterfall model. Every phase have their own significance. So in the following plan, we was basically gathering the requirements. After then, we will start the development, and after the development, we will test the code completely. We will test the complete product, and after the test, we deploy the complete product. We will use the maintenance then. So there was a different of kind of gaps available in that particular waterfall model, as the product release life cycle is very long because we can't release the product until we build it completely. The testing effort is used. The development of it is also used because we are developing the complete huge product. We are not doing things in the parallel, so that model have these loopholes. The waterfall model is the traditional sequential project management approach where each phase of a project cascades downward, similar to waterfall, with one phase feeding into the next. Let's explore a real life scenario to better understand the waterfall model. So imagine a company planning to build a new smartphone. Here is how the waterfall model might be applied. So gathering phase. The first stage is requirement and gathering stage. In this phase, the company conducts extensive market research, surveys, and potential users, and identifies the desired features for the smartphone. They outline everything the phone should be capable of, like camera quality, battery life, and software capabilities, and etc. And after completing the requirement gatherings of the phase, so we will go to the design phase or the system phase. With the requirements in hand, the design team starts to conceptualize the smartphone. They create a detailed designs, schematics, and prototypes based on the gathered requirements. This phase involves designing the physical appearance or internal components and user interface of the phone. So after that, we have the implementation phase. Once the design is finalized, the manufacturing of the smartphone begins. This involves sourcing materials, assembling the components, and coding software according to the design specifications. So once the implementation phase is done, so we are going to test the mobile phone clearly. With a fully assembled smartphone, rigorous testing is conducted to ensure it meets the defined requirement. This involves various tests like functionality and performance and durability and user experience testing. So finally, the deployment phase. So after successfully testing, the smartphone is ready to be launched in the market. Marketing strategies are executed and the product is made available for purchase or distribution. In this scenario, we made complete smartphone from the scratch with help of the waterfall model. The process follows a linear step-by-step approach where each phase has a distinct goals and no phase begins until the previous one is complete. Right. So the changes are difficult to implement once a phase is complete. For example, if a flaw means there is an error is a found in the design after manufacturing has started, it can be expensive and time consuming to rectify, right? So we can't go back and rectify the problem. So that's why the waterfall model works best when the requirements are well understood and unlikely to change significantly throughout the project. So let's talk about some drawbacks of the waterfall model using the smartphone only. Like we already using the smartphone example, right? In the context of developing a smartphone using the waterfall model, so there are several drawbacks we will face. So rigid structure, the waterfall model sequential in nature make it inflexible to changes. If during the testing phase significant flaws or new requirements are identified, it's charging and costly to go back to the previous stage like designing or implementation to address these issues. So limited client engagement. So client may not be have to clear idea of what they exactly want until they see a working prototype or a partial product. In the waterfall model, clients are usually involved in the initial requirements gathering phase and might not see tangible results until the product is almost complete. This could lead to misunderstandings or dissatisfaction with the final product. So risk of requirements misinterpretation will be happen with the waterfall model. Since the entire project scope is defined at the beginning, there is a risk of misunderstandings or misinterpreting the initial requirements. As technology and market trends evolve, what seemed is like good idea at the beginning might become obsolete or less relevant by the product is completed. So long delivery time will be taken by the waterfall model. Like each phase must be completed before moving to the next phase, which could result in a longer development cycle. In rapidly evolving industries like smartphones, this can be significant disadvantages as the time to market is crucial for success. Testing at the end may be the another cause will be the drawback. Testing happens towards the end of the project when the most of the development work is completed. If there are major issues or defects found during the testing, rectifying them can be time consuming and expensive, potentially causing delays in the product release. So lack of adaptability is the another drawback by the using of the waterfall model. The waterfall model does not easily accommodate changes or iterations during the development process. This lack of adaptability can be significant drawbacks, especially in industries where customer preferences and technological advancements evolve rapidly. So in comparison to more agile methodologies like Scrum or Kanban, where iterations and adaptations are encouraged throughout the development process, the waterfall model rigid structure can be limit innovation. So that's why we are not using the waterfall model. It will take more time to build the products and we can't go back to if we found any bugs in the testing, we can't go back. That's why we have this so many loopholes with the waterfall model. So that's why we are moving to the next model. So the next model which comes in the market is agile development. So I am not going to use the different examples. I will use the same smartphone example for the agile also. In agile development, we will develop the features in single way. And let's talk it about sprint planning. So we will plan everything in the sprint. So the development team, along with stakeholders, conduct a sprint planning meetings. They break down the project into smaller tasks called user stories, focusing on specific feature of the smartphone like camera quality or battery life or screen resolution will go on in the sprint planning or in the planning phase. So sprint execution will be taken time after the sprint planning over. The team works on these user stories in short time frames called sprints. So whatever the everything we discussed in the sprint planning, we are going to do in the execution phase. We already breaking down the project into small tasks, right? In the each sprint, we will work on the different sprints are in the different parts. So the team works on these user stories in short time frames called sprints, usually lasting 1 or 4 weeks. They develop and the test and refine the features within each sprint. For instance, in the first sprint, they might work on developing the camera functionality or in the daily stand-up meetings. Each day, the team gathered for brief stand-up meetings to discuss progress and challenges and plans for the day. This keeps everyone aligned, helps identify and address the issues quickly, and ensures continuous progress. We already break down the project into smaller tasks, so this won't take longer time like waterfall model. So in the agile development, iterative development is works fine. So as each sprint progress, the team gathers feedback from the stakeholders and the users. They incorporate this feedback into the ongoing development, allowing for the adjustments and improvements throughout the projects. So we can go back and we can change the any errors or anything change we require in the that smartphone. So that's why we use the agile development after the waterfall model, and continuous integration and testing will be happen with the agile development. So developers continuously integrate their code into a shared repository. Automated and manual testing is conducted regularly to ensure the quality and functionality of the future being developed. So review and retrospectives happen at the each end of the each sprint. The team hold a sprint review meeting to demonstrate the complete future to stakeholders. They also conduct a sprint retrospective to reflect on what went well and what should be improved and how to enhance the process in the next sprint. So they will show what they did this last week, and if the stakeholders want to change any code or anything in the smartphone, so they can say and they will implement the new code and do the retrospectives also and should be improved. And finally, adaptability and flexibility is good with the help of agile development. The agile approach allows for changes in requirements, priorities of market conditions. If a new technology emerges or if user needs a change, the team can easily adjust their plans in the upcoming sprint. In this scenario, Agile promotes flexibility and adaptability, allowing the development team to respond to changes and feedback quickly. Regular collaborations with stakeholders and users ensure that the product meets their expectations, leading to higher customer satisfaction. So the iterative nature of the Agile allows for the incremental improvements and the ability to prioritize the future based on the importance and market demands. Overall, Agile methodology is iterative and collaborative and adaptable nature to make it well suited for the industries like smartphone development or any rapid changes, and any customer preferences is the crucial role for the agile development. So in the agile development, we have the very smart short time deliveries. In agile, requirement changes frequently, so development needs to be fast. Here are some limitations of the agile we are going to talk. Agile relies heavily on continuous customer involvement and feedback. If stakeholders or customers are not actively engaged or available, it can hinder progress and decision making and causing delays. The flexibility of Agile, while beneficial, can lead to scope creep if not managed properly. Constantly evolving requirements or frequent changes might expand the project scope beyond its original boundaries, impacting the timelines and budgets. So document challenges will be there and risk of unrealistic expectations. Agile might not be suitable for all projects where the requirements are well defined and unlikely to change significantly throughout the development process. Till the development needs the faster changes. That's why we are going to working in the era which is called as this DevOps. So DevOps approaches is the best suited when we have the requirement changes frequently. Development needs to be agile and operation also needs to be agile, and the DevOps era, the development and testing will continue in a single phase. So we can develop and the product in parallel. So let's see how can we do that. So DevOps approach, so collaboration and communication. So where the DevOps promotes strong collaboration and communication between the development teams and operation teams and quality assurance and security and other relevant teams. So the start automation is works fine. So automation is fundamental principle in the DevOps. It involves using the tools and scripts to automate manually repetitive tasks such as coding and building, testing, deployment, and provisioning infrastructure and configuration management helps to achieving the consistency. So CI, CD and continuous integration and continuous deployment and delivery will happen in a speed way. So that's why DevOps is the good approach. So we can monitor and we can give the feedback within the uh, time. So DevOps emphasize a real-time monitoring of the applications and infrastructure to collect the data and feedback. Monitoring helps in detecting the issues, analyzing the performance, and gathering insights. which are used to drive continuous improvements in the software and infrastructure. And security is high with the DevOps approach. So we will discuss DevOps more in the upcoming videos. And next, let's discuss how Facebook using the DevOps and what happened to the Facebook without using the DevOps. So in 2011, Facebook released a new feature called Timeline. So they released the complete feature to the world in a single go. There comes the complete flaw. They released the complete feature, and most of the features wants to attract to that one, and everybody wants to log in and try that new feature. And while trying that summon future, they didn't have the so much of the servers, and that causes the lack of joining to the new servers, and their infrastructure and servers are meltdown because of the heavy traffic and everything by the new feature. And they didn't check manual configurations and deployment. So the infrastructure largely relied on the manual configurations and deployments. So that manual approach made it challenging and to handle the increasing scale and complexity of their system effectively. So limited automation in the deployment process was the prevalent as it's a modern DevOps practice. This lack of automation made it harder to manage the changes, leading to more errors and longer resolution times. So the most of the customers' data was leaked by the 2011 effect. So in 2011, Facebook faced a massive problem that affected millions of users around the world. So they released a new feature called Timeline and Chart and other such as the new features. So I will explain in clear like real way. So imagine Facebook as a big virtual playground where people could share photos, chat with friends, and post updates. But suddenly, everything stopped working. This happened because of a mistake Facebook made while trying to add a new feature to their playground. So they added a new feature, right? In 2011, they added a timeline feature. At that time, Facebook was growing really fast, just like a tree sprouting more and more branches. They wanted to make their playground even better, so they decided to add a new feature so that would let people chat in a real time. They called it a Facebook chat or other timelines. So, but oops, when they introduced Facebook chat or a timeline feature, it created a chaos on the playground. People couldn't talk properly, messages got mixed up, and the whole playground like seemed to stop working. So whenever they launched that new feature, everything stops working properly. It was like a trying to play a game with a broken toys. What went wrong? Facebook Playground was getting too big and complicated, just like a massive maze. To fix these things and a new future, they had to make a lots of changes to the playground. But they were doing it without a smart way, managing these changes. It was like a building new parts of the playground without checking if the old parts would still work properly if we add the new feature. In those days, Facebook didn't have something called DevOps. So imagine DevOps as a team of superheroes who help manage and fix the things in the playground. Without these superheroes, making changes to the playground was like playing a game without any rules. Everyone could do whatever they wanted, which sometimes caused a big problems. Because of the new features, without DevOps, their data might be leaked and their servers might be melt down because of the high traffic while releases the new features, and Facebook stopped completely working in 2011. So when Facebook tried to add a Facebook chat or new feature, it was like trying to put a new toy on the playground without testing if it's worked properly with the all other toys. So this caused a big mess. So the new feature is not working with the other old existing features. So this caused a big mess. Suddenly no one could play their game. Like no one can use their Facebook or share their any new about updates and everything with the other ones. With everything was broken, completely broken in 2011. This was a big lesson for the Facebook. Just like when you make a mistake in a school project, Facebook learned that when they change something in their playground, they need to be careful and check if it is still works properly if we add to the existing features. They realized they need to have a smarter ways of managing these changes. After this big problem, Facebook decided to become a smarter about changes. They started using the new technique called the dark launching technique, which is like having a team of super smart builders who check every new thing they added to the playground, they added to the Facebook. These builders make sure that when the new add a new feature, it doesn't break everything else. So in the end, Facebook learned from their mistake and become better at managing their playground. They learned the importance of testing the new things properly before putting them out for everyone to use. And just like in school, when you learn from mistakes, Facebook learned from there and made their playgrounds better and safer for everyone to play or to use. So let's talk about the dark launching technique. So after Facebook faced that issue, they started using the dark launching technique. So they roll back to the old verse. So they remove the timeline, and the dark launching involves deploying a new feature or changes to the product environment while keeping them hidden or inactive for the most of the users. Like they will release this particular new feature to the some people only. So to the limited people only. So the selectively activated for the small subset of users, often internal teams or a specific user of group. So they will test on that particular feature on those people. So if they have any problems with that feature, they will again revert back to old code and they will update the new feature and again they will test with the limited people only. If they are a new feature, like developers uses the feature toggles or flags, which are conditional statements, or a configuration setting within the code. So these toggle switches that controls the visibility or activation of the specific features. So the developers can release that feature to the specific group of the members only. The selective activation and testing. By using these feature flags, the developers can selectively enable or disable a feature for different users or different user groups. So the dark launching technique used helps the Facebook so much. So they are releasing the product to the smaller groups and they are taking the feedback and they are testing with the small groups as a beta version and they are adding the feature to the whole people. So this is the called A and B testing and experimentation. Dark launching facilitates A and B testing where different versions of the features can be tested simultaneously on different users of groups. So one feature is tested on one group and one feature is tested on the different groups. So this dark launching techniques works fine for the Facebook at that time. So when the complete like the future working fine without any effects, they are going to release the complete new feature to the all over the world. So they release that particular feature to the first in Asia, like to the smaller group, and they will release to the next UK, US, or other areas. Like they want to improve their product by testing on the small groups, and everything is works fine. Then only they will starts using that product future to the everyone. So then only they will release that product to the everyone in the world. So this is the technique that they used in the 2011 effect. After getting that effect, they used the technique called dark launching technique. So whenever they release a new feature, they will give that user to the particular users, and if that is working fine, they release to the some other user and again and so on. So they will release that particular feature to the different of versions and different areas in a different times. So the gradually that feature is activation. After throughout testing and validation, the feature toggle can be gradually activated for wider audience of the all users. The all Facebook users can use that new feature. So that is called the dark launching technique and the limited rollout. So first they release that feature to the limited people and then they will once that is working fine, then they will release to the gradual rollout. And so once that is working fine with that users, so they release that complete feature to the everyone. So this is called the testing, development, integration, and monitoring of the new features. And finally, we are going to talk about the what is DevOps. So after coming the dark launching technique, we are talking about the DevOps. So DevOps is a set of practice, cultural or philosophical, and tools that aim to improve collaboration and communication and integration between the software development or a dev team or IT operation ops team. So the primary goal of the DevOps is to shorten the software development lifecycle while delivering the high quality of software more frequently and reliably. And the product and the develop team and the test of the products works in parallelly, and everything will continue in a single phase. So in real life scenarios, DevOps is about streamlining collaboration between development and operation teams to enhance software delivery, improve deployment frequency, and ensure a more reliable and efficient process. So I will give a simple DevOps real life scenario or a real life example. Imagine a software development company that's working on a new application. Their DevOps approach involves in the automated deployment. So this is the first step. The developers write the code for the new feature or the fixes, and through a CI/CD pipeline using the tools like Jenkins, GitLab CI/CD or GitHub Actions, the code is automatically tested and built and deployed to various environments. So the problem solved by the DevOps. DevOps minimizes the time it takes to deliver a value to customers. The cycle time from the developer completion of a story or a task until production reduces significantly, allowing the value to be realized as quickly possible. The most important value realized through DevOps is that it allows IT organizations to focus on their core business activities by removing constraints within the value stream and automating the deployments pipelines. Teams can be focused on the activities. This helps in creating customer value rather than just moving bits and bytes. These activities increase the sustainability, competitive advantage of company and create a better business outcomes. Reduce the cycle times and time to market. The most important problem being solved is the reduction of the complexity of the process. This contributes significantly towards our business success by shortening of our time to the market, giving us a quick feedbacks on features and making us more responsive to customer needs. And problem resolution is the greatest value of the successful in DevOps implementation and CI/CD. So this is about what is DevOps, and we can learn in the upcoming videos about the DevOps and the DevOps tool sets and the tools that we use. The version control system tool like Git and GitLab and GitHub are a Bitbucket, and build tool as a Maven, and continuous integration tool Jenkins, configuration management tool Chef or Ansible, and configuration management tool Puppet, Ansible, and container platforms like Docker and Kubernetes, AWS Cloud Computing or storage in device, Azure Cloud Computing, Google Cloud Computing, and monitoring, alerting, and incident response tools like Grafana, Prometheus, Loki, and Thanos. Testing tool like Selenium, and we use the Jira. We use mostly the DevOps tools like GitHub and Jenkins, CI/CD, GitLab, and the DevOps security tools like OWASP and other things, and the Nagios, Nix, and Slack. So continuous integration and continuous deployment CI/CD tools like Jenkins, GitLab CI/CD, Circle CI, Travis CI, Azure DevOps, and GitHub Actions. And these automate the build and test and deployment process. Infrastructure as a code like Terraform, AWS Cloud Formation, Azure Resource Manager, and enabling managing and provisioning infrastructure using code. So these are the tools that we use mostly in the DevOps. So this is all about in the first video. And if you have any doubts, please contact us in this mail, the postbox.az, and the social media links will be provided in the description. Thanks for watching the video. The most of the first 5 lessons will be completely on the PPTs only. We will explain what is continuous in development, what is deployment and testing and monitoring and everything. Thanks for watching the video and keep on supporting to Mr. Codebook channel.